In 1863, while nearly 300,000 black soldiers marched toward battlefields to fight for their own freedom, something else was happening, something nobody talks about. Black doctors and nurses were making life-or-death decisions in military hospitals, saving soldiers who should have died and breaking racial barriers that were supposedly unbreakable. Their story was erased from American history until now. Start with Alexander Thomas Augusta, a man from Norfolk, Virginia, born free but in a state designed to destroy him. In Virginia, teaching a black person to read was a crime. Yet Augusta learned to read while working as a barber. He taught himself. He wanted medicine. The University of Pennsylvania rejected him because of his race, so he went to Canada. Trinity College, University of Toronto, accepted him. In 1856, he received his medical degree. While America was enslaving people, Canada was educating them. Augusta came back to America and watched the Emancipation Proclamation transform the nation on January 1, 1863. He knew what he had to do. He wrote directly to President Abraham Lincoln and Secretary of War Edwin Stanton, offering his services as a surgeon. The initial response was rejection. They didn't want a black doctor commanding white soldiers. Augusta refused to accept that answer. He traveled back to Washington, took the Army Medical Board examination, and on April 14, 1863, he passed. He became the first African American to receive a commission as a surgeon in the United States Army. Let that land. The first. In the entire history of the United States military up to that moment, no black person had held that rank. Augusta was commissioned as a major, the highest-ranking black officer in the entire Union Army. He was assigned to the 7th United States Colored Infantry. When he arrived, white surgeons under his command refused to take orders from a black officer. They complained to Congress that working under him was humiliating. Congress transferred him, but not as punishment. He was appointed head surgeon of the Freedman's Hospital in Washington, D.C., making him the first black hospital administrator in American history. And the racism didn't stop there. When a white conductor on a train refused him entry, saying he had to ride outside because of his uniform, his officer's uniform, Augusta protested. When the Army paymaster paid him the same $7 a month, they paid enslaved soldiers instead of the major's salary he'd earned. Augusta wrote to Senator Henry Wilson of Massachusetts. 2 days later, the paymaster general was ordered to pay him correctly. That's not accommodation, that's resistance. That's fighting while doing the work. By the end of the war, Augusta was promoted to lieutenant colonel, the highest-ranking black officer in the Union Army. After the war, he became the first black professor of medicine at Howard University in 1868. He remained there for 54 years, educating the next generation of black doctors. When he died in 1890, he was buried in Arlington National Cemetery as the first black Army officer honored with that burial. But Augusta wasn't alone. At least 12 more black physicians served with the Union Army. Charles Burley Purvis, from an abolitionist family in Philadelphia, also worked at the Contraband Hospital and later became the second black professor of medicine at Howard University. Anderson Ruffin Abbott worked at the Contraband Hospital and later completed his medical degree in Canada. John Rapier Jr. served at the Contraband Hospital until he died of disease in 1866. And then there were the black nurses. Anne Bradford Stokes was enlisted in the United States Navy in January 1863 and served for 18 months on the hospital ship USS Red Rover, treating wounded soldiers alongside white nurses who probably never wanted to work with her. In 1890, she applied for a disability pension for her own military service. The Navy confirmed she'd served on active duty. She became the first woman in the United States to receive a military pension for her own service. The first woman. Not just the first black woman. The first woman. These weren't background characters. These were physicians making medical decisions, nurses administering care, People trained in their professions, fighting disease and death in hospitals filled with men dying from wounds and infections and pneumonia and fever. Black hands saved white lives. Black minds solved problems. Black courage worked in hospitals where every day was a death sentence if you weren't careful. By the end of the Civil War, at least 22 African Americans had earned medical degrees. At least 12 of them served in uniform. 8 others served as acting assistant surgeons. Their names are documented. Their service is documented. But their story has been buried under the narrative of white doctors and white courage. The Contraband Hospital in Washington, TDC, where so many black physicians worked, became Freedman's Hospital after the war. That institution became Howard Hospital as part of Howard University. That history matters, because it means the medical legacy that black physicians built during the Civil War became the foundation for training black doctors that continues to this day. Comment below. What black medical professional has inspired you? Share this video with someone who needs to know that when the nation was breaking apart, black doctors were literally keeping it alive. Subscribe to Ike Mefuna History TV because we're telling the stories that America tried to bury. The stories of black excellence, black resistance, and black people who refused to accept anything less than their full humanity and their place in history.